I'm real excited to be here this morning. I have a great show for you this morning. And also, well, my second guest is Gary Anderson from Plowshares Theater. I'm really excited about that. And stay tuned for Table Talk at 10 because at 10 we're going to talk nothing but money. Money, money, money with Ellis Liddell and Chris Summerall. But first and foremost, I'd like to introduce my first guests, and they're from St. Moses the Black Catholic Parish, and they have some great things going on. I have Father Marco, and I have Mabel Jones. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, God, they sound so good. Oh, I said, oh, God, did I? So wonderful. But I'm so happy to have you here. And I think for our purposes, or my audience's purpose, who don't know you, if you could tell a little about yourself. Mabel?
I am retired from AAA. I was the former director of Public Affairs and Corporate Contributions. I went to Eastern Michigan with Brenda. I'm on a lot of boards in the city of Detroit, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, Loyola School, United Negro College Fund, and Children's Hospital Foundation, just among.
Oh, you do so much good in the community.
Yeah, I think I volunteer, but I'm working all the time. I'm just working on all my boards and trying to get back to the community, but my main focus is children.
Okay, great. Now, Father Marco, you're the pastor of
Yes.
St. Moses the Black. Can you tell us a little of your history?
So I'm a Catholic priest of the Archdiocese of Detroit. I was ordained in 2013 at the
Oh.
Blessed Sacrament Cathedral.
Where did you go to the seminary?
When did I go?
Where?
Oh, Sacred Heart Seminary.
Oh, you did go
Yeah.
to Sacred Heart.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so are
enjoyed
you
it.
originally from this area?
Well, originally, no. My family, we immigrated from the former Yugoslavia, Montenegro. We're ethnic Albanians. We came to Los Angeles, California. And then after that, we came to Metro Detroit.
Oh, okay. How did you get here? It was just they transferred you here, or you all just
No.
decided
But my parents wanted to move here.
to the Motor City?
Yeah, to the Motor City, and we've stayed here ever since. And there's
Well,
no
did you
desire to
graduate
leave.
from high school here?
Yes, I
Where?
graduated in Farmington,
Which school?
North Farmington.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
very familiar with
Yeah.
that school. Well, I think that you guys have so many good things happening over there, and I wanted to highlight that. And your program, It's a Better Way?
Yes, Better Way Detroit.
Better Way Detroit. Everybody, you need to listen to this because they're doing some really great things in the community. Why don't you talk about what Better Way Detroit is?
Okay, I could just start by explaining the genesis of it. I just wanted to offer men and women that were homeless the opportunity to work for pay. And so through donated money, I collaborated with the Detroit Mayor Duggan's Adopt a Park program, and then I had them clean.
Adopt the park.
Yeah.
So you took a park and
Yeah.
what
off
park?
off the riverfront.
Oh, okay.
Off the riverfront. So I did that for about 2 months, and then I said, "Wow, this is working well. So let's."
So how did you find the homeless people to work?
Various homeless shelters. Of the two on 3rd Street and Martin Luther King. Also, soup kitchens. Also, we find men on the streets, and I approach them and offer them the opportunity to work for pay. And it started off with with the parks. Now we've moved towards cleaning up the neighborhood. So
Oh,
now,
really?
yeah, so we clean up uh, overgrowth, illegal dumping, and many of the longtime residents cannot. I'm sorry. They contact the city wanting to clean the legal dumping, take care of the overgrowth of these vacant properties, and the city, because they're understaffed, most of the time they say no. But with us now, they contact us, and we take care of it for them,
Oh, really?
and it gives the homeless it gives them. I believe when I see a homeless person, I don't see a hopeless object of pity, but I see a man, a woman with a sincere desire to work, who desires to be contributed to society, and who have gifts and passions. And I want to make, I want them to be aware of that, and
And
I want to
to
tap into that.
Yes, and what is the attitude? You've already kind of mentioned that, but with some of them, because I know they come from various backgrounds.
Yeah.
And what have you learned about some of their backgrounds?
Their backgrounds.
Where they came from, how did they become homeless, and so forth?
Yeah, some of them are returning citizens. Um, they could be this due to poor financial decisions, family issues, sometimes drug addiction. Um, it varies. With regarding those who have drug addiction, it's been a grace. I've been able to, what comes to mind, 5 people I've been able to connect them to detox centers. While another great thing about being able to work with them as a priest, you get to know them. It's not just me giving them a sandwich or soup and say bye,
Right.
but no, and God bless you. But I work with them. I get to
You
know
follow
them.
up with them.
I form a bond with them, and I get to know them, and and then they trust me and open up, and then I can help them. Also, what I've been able to do is connect them to full-time work. So, since that's my second stage of it. It's become a concrete gateway to full-time employment. So since May, I've been able to find 31 men and women full-time jobs. Now,
Really?
I don't have a 100% success rate. It's more like 60% success rate. But
Well, don't you find with some people who probably go back and try to get that full time,
Yeah.
that some people are just kind of ingrained in their past life, in that it's hard for them to get onto this regimen. You know, work has a regimen and it has a redundancy
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, actually, what I find is when I give them an opportunity for a job and it doesn't work out, I don't give up on them. I find them another opportunity, and then they learn from their
First
from
mistake.
first mistake, and they become a better employee. Or sometimes they just they need a better fit.
Right, right. And what kind of jobs, especially you have some returning citizens and so forth, what kind of jobs have you been able to find for them?
Dishwashing, construction, painting. I have a connection with a packaging company, so.
Well, have you found any of them to be able to say, wow, I can kind of rent a place now?
Yes,
That's
yes,
real
yes,
important. Yes,
yes, yes.
They have because they see that accumulating some money. Talk about that sense of starting to own something or have something that is theirs.
Yeah, it feels good. I remember, I love the story of one gentleman. He's 61 years old. I got him a job at a restaurant washing dishes, and he was just named the employee of the month. And
Really?
I asked him, "How you doing?" And then he says, I'm in paradise. I wake up every morning and go to work 8, 10 hours, go home, go to sleep, get up in the morning the next day and go to work, Same routine. He says, I'm in paradise, 61 years old, washing dishes. And he appreciates it. And that's the key with the men and women that I connect with full-time work. I tell them that the key is attitude. Beginning this job with the attitude of gratitude, and you'll do well.
Absolutely. Well, Mabel, how does the church feel about this?
Well, we're excited about it because the Better Way Detroit people come and help clean up at the church and help us with projects around the church. But Father's being kind of modest because once you get a person a job, then you got to take them to the bank. They have to have a place where they can cash their check. And Father
That's
Marco has worked a relationship with a credit union in Highland Park where because these people don't have IDs. I mean, they're
right.
homeless
Right.
people. So, you have to bridge all those gaps. And we run a food pantry out of our church on Wednesday. So we have food that we distribute to them once a month and more often if we need to. And we have dishes that we provide them with, and we have clothes. So we can help them get started. So we just all work together to
Well,
try to make the person
you
whole.
brought up the thing about identifications, IDs. What do you do? Because I'm sure many of them may know their social security numbers and stuff like that. But it seems like everywhere you go, you gotta have to show something. So what happens in that event? Them getting an ID or something like that.
Yeah, I connect them to various organizations. So you have Crossroads off of Grand Boulevard, also Noah Project. I think we have so many programs available, and I encourage them and make them aware of the opportunities.
Now, with some of them, they've started to work. Do they have, and they, before they even get a place, what do they do at night after work? I mean, they don't have, say, if you get a homeless person, I'm a homeless person.
Yeah.
I've started this part-time job. After I'm finished with the job during the day, what do I do? Do I go where I was, where I would?
Well, yeah, as many. So, let's say, for example, if I help a man that's living at NSO shelter over there,
Oh,
and
NSO.
Martin Luther King and Third Street. So, and over there at NSO, you sleep on chairs. So,
Oh, do you?
yeah. So I get to help a man get a job there. For the first month, first 2 months, until he saves up money, he can't really get a place until also, so he has to live at the shelter while he's working. Also, it can be it can be quite a challenge to find housing because landlords have expectations. They want to see paycheck stubs. They want to see some records, and so it doesn't come. It's not as easy as people
Yeah.
think it is
No, I don't.
to obtain housing.
I don't think it's easy. That's why I
Yeah.
was asking
Yeah.
that. I think that's really a challenge. And if you could get them to hang on until they can amass
Yeah.
this bit of money, or perhaps find a somebody who will rent to them. That's another thing. Renting to people.
Yeah.
Are there places that will rent to them, are a lot easier to rent to take people in than other places?
Well, the homeless agencies have I guess you call it a program. It's coordinated assessment model. They call it just CAM, and through that, the homeless persons are able to obtain housing. But it does take it does take months.
Yeah.
I mean, it sometimes can take up to over a year to finally be approved for housing.
Wow. And
So the best way, I mean, it can take over a year, yeah. But the best approach is find employment, save money, and find a place to live.
And
And that,
so it's hard.
but it's hard both ways.
It's hard
It's
to
hard.
There's no way.
save money.
Yeah.
It's hard to save money. You
Uh-huh.
know, imagine not having money for a while
Mm-hmm.
or just going from pillar to post. And now here you have this opportunity.
Yeah.
What do you do with that first paycheck? You have that paycheck, you have a little money. And my mother used to say, money burns a hole in my pocket, you know? So, money burns a hole in your pocket. So, I mean, so it's a education thing that goes along with this, right?
Yeah, those are some of the programs that we're looking at trying to run out of the church, like to have some financial seminars and that sort of thing. Up until Father Marco came to St. Moses, we were clustered with the cathedral.
Yes.
And as of July 1, we've been declustered. We're probably the first parish in the city of Detroit to be declustered.
Well, let's explain this to the audience. First and foremost, St. Moses the Black used to be Madonna
Correct.
Church on Oakman.
Right.
Okay, and then when St. Gregory.
It merged with St. Gregory's and St. Benedict, and then we became St. Moses the Black.
Okay, and so what does it mean to decluster?
Decluster means that you have a priest that's dedicated to your parish.
Oh,
We were
okay.
sharing
Yes.
the priest from the cathedral
Okay.
with St. Moses.
Yes.
So now,
Staff.
and staff. And now we have Father Marco.
Father Marco, I tell you, I grew up here in Detroit, and as you know, I graduated from Catholic school. But there were so many Catholic schools, so many Catholic parishes around, and it's gone through a metamorphosis, really, now. And I'm just so happy that some parishes like yourselves, and I think Sacred Heart is pretty strong too.
Sacred Heart is Father Norm, is the priest for Sacred Heart and St. Elizabeth, I believe.
Okay.
So he's doing two parishes, but
Okay, so how would say if but somebody in my viewing audience knows someone who is homeless, how would they contact you for this
in a
program,
better way, Detroit.
for the Better Way Detroit program?
Well, you can messenger me at my Better Way Detroit Facebook page. Email me at Better Way Detroit.
Would they look up
Yeah.
what, Father Marco?
Oh, you could just go on the website betterwaydetroit.com.
BetterWayDetroit.com,
Yes.
and we could kind of start from there. And because I know you've had some, as you said, some success stories, things you're really proud of, and getting people to change their lifestyle is kind of difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I would say I've helped over 31 homeless individuals find full-time employment, and about 20 of them currently, a little over 20 of them are remaining in their jobs. However, what I do is offer a Sunday fellowship. So on Sunday, from 2:30 to 4:30, the men. In this case, this is only for men. This fellowship, the men that have worked with me during the week attend a fellowship with me at the church, and we go over work, spiritual life, doing good for others, and it's an opportunity for us to encourage each other, exhort each other, share wisdom with one another. And I facilitate, but my goal there is just to step back and let them take ownership of it. And sometimes I've seen some beautiful things.
I know you have.
Yeah.
And do you have some good news stories too? Some of them impart good news stories.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's encouraging, because if I can do it, you can do it. Now, you're having a fundraiser coming up to help with some of the programs at the church. Can you tell us about it, Mabel?
Yes, we're having our third annual Valentine's Day dinner dance on February 14th, Valentine's Day, at Burton Manor.
Burton Manor?
Burton Manor. And the tickets are $50. And you can call the church 313 868 4308 if you're interested in purchasing a ticket or making a donation. Now, the funds that we raise from the program will help support the programs that we do. As I mentioned earlier, on Wednesday, we have a food pantry program. We also provide, where we can, assistance for utility bills on
What is the
Wednesday.
criteria for that?
Oh, I don't think I have enough time to go through on this program, but people have to come with their bills, and we have a dedicated person that works with the people as they come in.
What
So,
day does that
so
happen?
on Wednesdays from 11 to 2,
Okay,
11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
at St. Moses
at
the
St.
Black
Moses the
in
Black,
the
1125 Oakman Boulevard.
parish. Is there a parish
We have where they go into our, I guess you would call it our
parish hall?
parish hall. Yeah.
Okay, I want to get back to the St. Valentine's Day event because I left my card in my bag, but there's a lot going on at that event. So let's talk
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
we will. If you purchase a ticket, you do not have to be present to win. We are raffling off a 50-inch colored TV flat screen. We'll also have a 50-50 raffle and a silent auction, and dinner is included.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a
See,
lot going on that
there's a
night.
lot, and they have a DJ,
And
and they're going to play
oh,
some.
we have the best DJ, Rick Love. So if you like dancing, he's the best DJ in the city.
And if you like listening,
Yeah,
you could, because I love listening to old music. In fact,
right.
I'm trying to catch up now. I've been listening to
Old school,
Motown
old
too
school,
long. I'm
old school.
just trying to catch up, but it kind of reminds me of growing up in Detroit and some of the great things that happened. And see, a lot of you may remember Madonna. If you
Clap
remember, think
Economy.
back when Madonna, St. Moses the Black was Madonna, and then a block or so down was the Hostess Cupcake Factory that we used to go and buy day old food,
Right.
or cupcakes. Because me and my friends, we lived a few blocks over, and we'd get on our bikes and ride over to the Hostess Cupcake Factory. I might have just had 25 cents, but I've got some Hostess cupcakes. I got
Right.
Twinkies and all of that good stuff. And they're trying to build up that area, aren't they?
Yes, they are. NSO has a home in a block and a half from our church where homeless people, uh,
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for them to have an address.
Yes, Michelle and I have been over there. That's across the street.
Mhm.
And yeah, there are people, they have apartments
They
and
have
everything.
apartments and everything. And we service those people on Wednesday too. They're eligible to come down to our food pantry on Wednesdays. Now, we also do Meals on Wheels on Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
How do people find out about that?
Well, you have to go through the regular process for Meals on Wheels. They give us the names and the food, but we make sure that people that live in the area of the church receive a meal. And you don't know how welcoming that meal is until you have the experience of doing it, delivering those meals. Because I've had people say to me, I didn't know what I was going to eat today. And
Right,
they live by themselves and they don't have family.
right,
So they're
right.
happy for that. We also, well, we started it. We grew it bigger this year. We had what was called the Holy Family Christmas Store, and we serviced 585 children with coats and toys and food for Christmas.
That's what a church is supposed to do, be cognizant of their community and work to help people in their communities. I know of some churches that they kind of help the people right within the
Right.
church, and they don't, even down the block, they don't really help the people on the block. They're just there on that Sunday or whatever day, or come for a Bible study, and then they're gone.
Well, 90% of the people at St. Moses commute. We no longer live in the church area, but
Right.
we grew up in Madonna, St. Moses, or St. Benedict. And so that is our preference, to continue to worship there. So as an extension of who we are, candlelight people, we service the people in the community.
Well, what time are the mass on Sunday?
We
What-
have one Mass on Sunday at 10 a.m. We have Mass on Tuesday and Wednesday at
Tuesday 8 a.m. and
Yeah.
Wednesday 9 a.m. I'm sorry.
Tuesday, 8 a.m.,
Yeah.
Wednesday, 9 a.m. You don't
Yes.
have a Saturday service.
not yet.
Oh, but you'll get one.
Yeah, we'll have one.
Okay, so once again, before we wrap up, Father, how do they find out about a better way?
So
Better way.
the best way is go on our website, betterwaydetroit.com.
And I'd like to applaud you both for the work that you're doing in the community. This is wonderful, you know,
Thank you.
because I believe in each one, teach one. And when you have helped one person, they can act as that example for others, you know, to come up. You know, you can't save the whole world, but you can do a lot with just starting where you are and finding people where they are. Don't you agree?
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much.
We'd like for you all to come and worship with us. 10 o'clock, 1125 Oakman Avenue. And the Valentine's Day dance is February 14th at Burton Manor.
How do they get tickets?
You can call 313-868-4308, 313-868-4308, and you can purchase your ticket.
I think I'm going to that. You know, I like old school. I might have to go down a Soul Train line and, well, all of that stuff. You know, you never know. You never know. But if you have any questions, you could always leave a message for me at the station here, and I'll get back with you about it. Okay? So stay tuned. I have Gary Anderson here, and you all know how much I love theater. He's the artistic director of Plowshares, and they have a great, great season coming up. So we'll be back in just a moment.
WHPR TV is now on Channel 90. Check out all of your favorite morning talk shows on Comcast Channel 90 every day from 7 a.m. to 12 noon, and watch us anytime, day or night, on all of your favorite devices. Download the WHPR TV Now app and take us with you wherever you go. WHPR TV is now on Comcast Channel 90 every day from 7 a.m. till noon. WHPR TV, a Watkins Broadcasting Company.
Hi, this is LaWanda,
This is RJ Watkins.
coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you, because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
107.3 FM, WVIE.
How would you like for this to be you? Well, it could be. If you have the desire to be an independent radio personality, paying yourself, this is your chance. WVIE 107.3 FM and WHPR 88.1 FM are looking for people with outgoing personalities who can attract sponsors. Launch your career on a radio station with the latest technology and broadcasting. WVIE 107.3 and WHPR 88.1. If you're into talk, R&B, oldies, jazz, gospel, or soca, Radio We Can See is where you need to be.
88.1 FM. WHPR.
Have your own radio show. We have block time available. Call 313-868-6612. Radio We Can See. Broadcasting live in the Virgin Islands and Detroit. Comcast Cable 91, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Good morning. Good morning. I am so excited to be with my guest. I'm so happy he's on my show. It's his first time being on the show. This is Gary Anderson, the artistic director for Plowshares Theater. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Brenda.
Oh, love that voice. You know, projection is our life.
There you go. There you go. There you
I
go.
used to teach my students, don't even think about mics.
Right.
I mean, everyone in the last row has to be able to
There
hear
you go.
I mean, this old mic thing.
Yeah, you show training when you show how well you can project your voice.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Unamplified, yeah.
And Jonathan, well, he's around here somewhere. He could tell you, people, I would always tell them, projection is indeed my life, you know.
Yeah.
So don't sit up and act, you know, mics go out.
Well, we've gotten too used to this TV or film style acting where we think that everything can be insular and small.
Right, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. You got to be ready for
Yeah.
anything that happens.
All right.
So, Gary, let's first tell the audience a little about you and where you came from and so forth.
Well, I'm originally from Ypsilanti, Michigan.
48197.
There you go.
I never forgot that zip code.
That's my zip code. I grew up there, went to high school there. Out of high school, I received a acting scholarship to the university at Eastern Michigan, and went there for a year. But wanted to.
Who was head of the theater at that time?
Oh God! Shoot! Now you're gonna make me work.
Oh no, I don't want to make you work.
I
I tell you,
forgotten.
I had to work. You know, the worst class I had that killed me was stagecraft.
Yeah, yeah.
Stagecraft.
With George Bird.
George Bird,
Yes,
man. I
yes.
remember I dropped the class
Yeah.
once. I remember going to him and saying, Dr. Bird, I have to drop the class. He said, good, because you were going to fail it anyway. I said,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So I finally, that was the last class I
Yeah.
took.
He was patently racist. Yeah, I mean, seriously so. So I understand why you had those challenges.
Oh, it was a challenge like
Yeah.
nobody's business.
Yeah.
So you had that for a year, and what
Right.
happened?
Well, what I wasn't finding the instruction being significant enough for what I thought I wanted, and so I transferred to the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, where they had a professional artist training program at the time that was one of the top tier programs that existed in public colleges and universities around us. And so I went there and I had resources, because back in those days you actually had Pell Grants and other funds that a student like
Right.
myself coming from meager means could be able
Right.
to access.
Well, that was the only way I got to go.
Exactly. And so I got there. Well, it was the spring of '81, after Ronald Reagan had been elected, and I got a letter from the federal government saying that my Pell Grant was going to be modified and that we would send you the new amount sometime in the fall. So I thought they were only going to shave a few $100s off of it, and little to know that that was the beginning of the destruction of the Pell Grant program. He cut it significantly in half because I had enough money to actually live out of state, pay room and board and my tuition, and still had a little bit over. And in fact, because of the way I was raised, I found small jobs in Milwaukee to provide myself with some money so that I could actually live.
Right.
But once my it went from $5,500, which was enough to cover
In
everything.
those days,
right?
uh-huh.
It went down to $1,500. That was a severe cut, and so I only did a semester there. But circumstances being what they were, it actually worked out for my family. My great grandmother had had a massive stroke around the holidays at that time, and she had been suffering from debilitating arthritis. And so I became her primary caregiver for the remaining 16 months of her life. So I took care of her every day. I didn't go to school. I didn't do anything other than take care of her. And then once she passed...
Was she in Ypsi?
She was in Ypsilanti. Yeah, my immediate family was all in Ypsilanti. And so I came back home to Ypsi. And once she passed, I was able to didn't think about how I was going to pursue my future. And so I looked around and I said, well, I can't afford to leave the state now, so let me find the programs that might be affordable and effective to give me the kind of training I need. And so I ended up at Wayne State's in 1983, prepared to finish my undergraduate degree 2 years later.
Wow. Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yes,
was.
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
I remember a lot of those folks
Yeah,
down
Tony.
there at that time.
Yep, Tony Schmidt was the directing teacher.
Right.
But what that time gave me was an opportunity to really refashion. I started out wanting to be an actor, and I found out that acting was not really what I wanted to pursue, that I actually became more interested in being a director, that I wanted to be the storyteller as to be an aspect within the story.
The storyteller, the interpreter,
Right,
and
right.
so forth. You know, it's funny because I took acting and all that. I went through Eastern, as you know, and then I decided I like directing.
Yeah.
I love directing.
yeah.
And isn't that funny how that works out?
Well, there are two more very powerful positions in both theater, film, and TV, and that's either the director and the writer. TV and film diminishes the power of the
Yes.
writer because they take the ownership of the creative product away from them and put it into the hands of the producers in studio.
And the editing process
Right.
sometimes does
Exactly.
not interpret it the
Exactly.
way the writer
You
wanted.
reinterpret what the writer wanted.
Absolutely.
But
Well, I
the
love talking about this.
But the director is a fairly consistent and powerful position in
Yes.
regards to being able to articulate what really is the essence
the
of the story.
vision.
Right, exactly. And so I really fell into that because I began to realize that the stories of my people, black people, were not always being interpreted correctly, and that there might be a way for us to really look at how things are done in such a fashion so that we could actually begin to push our perspective more forward as an alternate to the really, in some cases, really detrimental way in which the black image was being presented.
Absolutely. So tell us about you starting Plowshares.
So I was graduating with my master's from Wayne, and I really looked at the landscape and saying what would be the opportunities for me to work around here. And a lot of the directing students from Wayne that stayed here didn't necessarily direct their first few years. And I have to admit, I have a somewhat healthy opinion of myself. and I didn't want to go be a stage manager or get coffee for some other director. I wanted to actually get in the mix. And there was a student that was there who was also feeling the same way, a guy named Michael Garza, and he and I decided that we were going to join forces and create our own theater company. I have to tell you, I tell this to everybody, the two things you really need to want to start a theater company is arrogance and ignorance. You need to think that you have the ability to do it better than anybody else that's doing it right now, and you need to have the complete unawareness that of all the things that you need to do effectively to make it work. We were maybe 1 or 2 pages ahead in the chapter of the book that we needed to read to really make ourselves effective. And we stayed a little bit ahead, but it was a struggle. But I learned a great deal about the process of not just crafting the story for the sake of the benefit of the artist, but also being able to communicate that effectively to an audience outside.
Absolutely. So when did all of this begin? Let's talk
Well,
chronologically.
sure. So it's 1989. We started Plowshares. We first spent the first year actually fashioning all of the business. We got the 501c3 status through both the state and the federal government, and we mounted our first show in the winter months of 1990.
What was that first show?
It's a show called Woza Albert.
I
So this is give you an idea as to what it's about. It's a fantasy. It's a play by Winston Shuna and Mbengi Ngema, and it's about the premise. South Africa at the time was under apartheid.
Yes.
And they said that they were a Christian nation. So Woza Albert posits the fantasy of what if the second coming of Christ occurred in South Africa? How would this Christian nation respond to the Son of God?
Absolutely.
And so the whole play is a series of vignettes where their ideas of what they are as Christians and also their ideas of what the message of Christ is constantly coming into contract. You can't be a Christian nation and still have apartheid.
Right,
And so
right.
the whole play really deals with it. It's a really inventive, imaginative play. And we did this in the last 2 weeks of 1990.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the challenge. So we did it. We thought that talking about Christ during the Christmas season would be an interesting way of marketing it. We were also realized that we were challenged with people wanting not to think during that time period. So
Right,
we
right.
learned a few things.
Did you ever do Bozeman and Lena?
I have never done that one.
I had the occasion to, almost meet Athol Fugard. Yes, I stayed in New York a few days with Suzanne Shepard, who directed Master Harold here, but she worked with Athol. They were very good friends because they had it on Broadway, and he was involved in that. And I had gone out to see Night Mother that on Broadway with Kathy Bates,
Right.
and came
That
back.
was the show that put her on the map.
Yes, that's the show. And that night, I came back in my script. Athol Fugard had written me a note. He had been there to the party. So I always say, well, I kind of met him.
All right.
You know, but you find as you meet more people out there doing these so-called great things on Broadway
Right.
and so forth, that many times they want to hear what you have to say.
Right.
And Big River was another show
Right.
that appeared. And she took me to a dinner where they asked me, they said, Brenda, we're doing Big River. It was in this big apartment with
Right.
$1 million paintings. And I said, well, how are you going to play Jim?
Right.
That was my major concern, the slave, so forth. And I said, it's very important how you
Absolutely.
play him.
Absolutely.
And they changed the way they played him.
wow.
Yeah, they
Good.
did. They did.
Interpretation is really important, and who is the interpreter is critical to
Yes.
the way in which a story is told. I tell this to everybody. We get into these funks about there are all these male directors or writers that get a great deal of opportunity, and I do believe that women need to be both directors, and so we've had programs where we're trying to develop women directors, as well as do works by women about women. I think that's vital to the fairness and equity that should
Well, the
exist
way
in
women
theater.
observe is different.
Absolutely.
Also,
I tell everybody that I've been married 30 years. I still don't understand women, but I'm learning.
yeah, I know.
On a
I know.
daily
It's coming
basis.
along. Well, you have a great wife,
I do.
Adele Austin Anderson.
That's
I
right.
just love her to death.
She's a powerhouse.
She is very definitely a powerhouse. So let's talk about
Okay.
the play that is coming up next week.
Right.
Talk about it.
The show that opens our season 2020 is a brand new play, actually by a woman, Adrienne Earl Pender, called N, the letter N, and it actually
Tell
is
why it's called In.
because it's based on the experiences of the original production of The Emperor Jones. Most people don't know this because if they know anything about the Emperor Jones, they may know the movie from 1933 starring Paul
Paul
Robeson.
Robeson.
But the original stage script has the N word in it 29 times. And the original actor who did the show was an actor named Charles S. Gilpin, who was 100 years ago, in October of 1920, became the most famous black man in this country. He was invited to the White House to meet privately with President Harding to talk about race relations. He was recognized by his peers, the first black dramatic actor to be recognized by the Drama League for his performance of this show on Broadway. He received a Spingarn Award from the NAACP.
Yes.
There were theaters around the country that were in black organizations. At Caramoo in Cleveland, their theater group, their community theater group was called the Dumas Players. They renamed themselves the Gilpin Players because that's how significant he was. If you want to think about it, he was like the Denzel Washington of his generation. And you don't know about him today.
I know.
From 1920 to 1930, he went from being one of the most significant black figures in American theater to completely obscured, dead, and erased from history. His trajectory, when you look at his in comparison to O'Neill's continues to ascend. He becomes considered America's first great playwright.
Yes.
And Gilpin is thrown on the ash heap of history. He's forgotten. No one knows the significance of that man or from whence he came. And so we're doing the play dealing with the circumstances around that production and his relationship with O'Neill and how challenging it is, because it goes back to the same things we've been talking about, interpretation and presentation of the black image.
I am so excited about this show.
Yes.
I am so excited. When does it open?
It opens next Friday, January 31st. We have a 7:30 performance at Mary Grove College Theater.
People have been using that. How do you like it?
You know, I've done work there before. We were there in 2004, and we've done some other activities there. I think it's a fantastic production. I'm a fantastic space. And I'm glad that there are champions like the Kresge Foundation that have stepped forward to try to help save that institution and repurpose it for that community. Because I think if they lost it, if they lost Marygrove as an entity in that section of town, you would have a detrimental effect on the neighborhoods surrounding.
Absolutely. I agree with you full well. Who are the actors? You have 3 actors in this show.
Only 3 actors in the show. It's T. Farrell Muhammad, who plays Charles S. Gilpin. You have Lisa Loggins, who is playing his wife, Florence, who's a composite of both his first wife, Florence, and his second wife, Lillian, Alice, who was his full wife at the time. And we have Scott Norman playing Eugene O'Neill.
Right, and he's been around a while.
Yes, he's been around.
He's a good actor. All of them have.
All 3 of them are Detroit veterans. They've done both film and TV as well as theater, so they have a great deal of experience, and you'll see that evident in how they render the show.
Who's directing?
I'm directing it. I'm directing it.
Good.
This was a real passion project for me. I found out about the play in 2015 when I began doing some research on the nature of black theater around the country. And I approached Adrienne via email and asked her to send me her script. The original script was a 1-act and we thought that there was merit to it, but that it didn't cover everything that could be covered in the context of that story. And so I asked her would she be interested in developing it further into a 2-act play, and so she conceded, and we began a 2-year process of working on it.
Excellent. I am so excited, and it's called In.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the rest of the season.
So I'm really excited about the rest of the season because, again, we focus on Plowshares is doing more new work and newer works.
Thank you.
So the 3 plays that we're doing between now and the first week in August are either Michigan premieres or world premieres. This is a Michigan premiere, Michigan premiere because it's been done before. The next show we're going to be doing at the end of April, also at Mary Grove, is a play called Roost by Lee Edward Colson II. He's a brand new writer who has just had a fantastic production that was done called The First Deep Breath at Victor Garden Theater in Chicago. Had rave reviews. The young man's been very much in demand. He's been going back and forth between New York and L.A. He's been working on the writing teams for several TV shows. This upcoming season of Fargo, he'll be one of the staff writers on that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so he's real, and this is at the beginning of a real explosion for him.
Right.
And Roost was a play he wrote several years ago that no one has ever tapped to produce. He sent it to me. Again, we met via Facebook, actually. And I asked him to send me some of his work. This was one of the works he sent me. And I was really overwhelmed by the quality of it. I was really overwhelmed by the strength of it. And so we're going to be doing the world premiere of that in April, running April 24th through May 17th. And then the third play we're doing, which we're going to be doing as part of our programming during the Black Theater Network's National Conference. Black Theater Network is a national service organization for professional and academics in Black theater. They're going to be bringing their conference to Detroit between July.
Are they?
Yes, they're going to be bringing their national conference to Detroit. I was able to negotiate that. We've partnered with Rochelle Riley and the new Department of Arts, Culture, and Entrepreneurship that the mayor has established, and she is assisting us in raising the dollars to mount the conference here.
Good.
And so we'll be here beginning from July 24th to the 28th. So you're going to have artists all over the country coming together.
So what is that show?
That show is called Citrus, and it's another new writer, Celeste Jennings, out of Dartmouth University. She's been recognized for her work. It deals with examining the experiences of African American women in this country from 1840 to the present, using a series of vignettes and monologues.
Absolutely.
It's
great.
really, really exciting.
Well, you have to come back before every show
okay.
and talk. You're here now. You're
Okay.
a friend of the show. You got to come back before every show and talk about it.
Okay.
And maybe sometimes bring your actors.
I would be happy to do that.
I mean, I would love that,
Yeah,
you know.
They weren't inclined to get up. We had to be someplace
Oh,
early.
please, you know, we're adults.
But we can make that happen.
Yeah,
We
we
can
can
make
make
that
that happen. Listen, so it starts, tell the audience once again.
The play In starts next Friday at 7:30.
Next Friday is the what?
It's the 31st. Yes, the 31st. And we'll be running from the January 31st through February 16th.
Okay.
The performances are 7:30 on Friday, 8 o'clock on Saturday, and 2 o'clock on Sunday.
Excellent, excellent. I'm so excited about it. And people, can they get group rates?
They can get group rates. They can get individual tickets.
How do they contact?
Well, they can contact us through our website, which is www.plowsharestheater.org.
And theater is THE.
THTRE.
TRE.
That's right. TRE.
Yes.
That's right. So it's one word. Or they can contact us by calling our number 313-744-3181.
And they are also on Facebook.
We're
Plowshares
yes.
is also on Facebook.
Right.
Well, Gary, thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you.
coming.
I appreciate the opportunity.
I mean, I love talking theater with people. Oh, I just love it so much.
Great.
You have no idea. Anyway, I
appreciate
be
the
there to
opportunity.
see the show. This is an exciting show, so I'll be there.
All right.
Probably Friday night.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to try and squeeze my way in. How much are tickets?
Tickets are between $20 and $25, depending
that's
upon when
cheap.
you come.
That's
They're
cheap.
extremely cheap for this show.
All right, so we'll be back with Table Talk, and we're talking money, money, money. You need to hear this, especially in January. Talk to you then.